The 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa was more than just a tournament. It was a homecoming. For the first time in history, the world's most celebrated sporting event was being held on African soil. Nation after nation from the continent fell by the wayside, their dreams of glory extinguished. By the knockout stage, only one team remained to carry the hopes of an entire continent on its shoulders: the Black Stars of Ghana. Their remarkable and ultimately heartbreaking story is one of the most compelling narratives in World Cup history. Ghana entered the tournament with a sense of quiet confidence, but also a massive burden. They were drawn into a challenging Group D alongside Germany, Australia, and Serbia. The early exits of host nations South Africa, Nigeria, Cameroon, Algeria, and Cote d'Ivoire meant that by the time the group stage concluded, Ghana was the last one standing.
You are, of course, the only remaining African nation. Do you really feel that you have the support of the whole continent behind you?
Yeah, I feel we have a massive support from the whole African continent, and we are so proud of them, and we promise them that we're going to make them more proud, like what we did today.
Yeah, I think it's a big moment because we have never done this before, but we wanted to get into the history of Africa, and getting into the history of Africa is getting to the semi-finals. It's going to be very difficult. We need to continue fighting as a team and give 100%, and I think it's possible.
Carrying the collective aspirations of over a billion people, their campaign began in a tight tense match against Serbia. The game was a cagey affair, a tactical chess match that threatened to end in a goalless draw. But in the 85th minute, destiny intervened. A cross into the Serbian box struck the outstretched arm of midfielder Zdravko Kuzmanovic. The referee pointed to the spot, and Ghana's talisman, Asamoah Gyan, stepped up with coolness that belied the immense pressure. He slotted the ball into the back of the net. The 1-0 victory was not just a win for Ghana. It was the first victory for an African team at the African World Cup and a moment of immense celebration. Their second match was against Australia, and it began disastrously. A goalkeeping error from Richard Kingston allowed Australia's Brett Holman to score. Just as Ghana seemed to be faltering, Pate delivered a dramatic equalizer. A shot on goal from Jonathan Mensah was handled on the goal line by Australian forward Harry Kewell, resulting in a red card and another penalty. Once again, Gyan was the man for the moment. Burying the penalty to tie the game at 1-1. The draw kept their hopes alive. In their final group game, Ghana faced a formidable German side. A loss could have meant elimination, but Ghana played with a disciplined ferocity. They held their own against the European giants, but a brilliant long-range strike from Mesut Ozil in the second half was enough for Germany to secure a 1-0 victory. Despite the loss, Ghana's 2 draws and a win were enough to see them through to the knockout stage as Group D runners-up. The dream was still very much alive. The round of 16 pitted Ghana against the United States in a highly anticipated rematch of their 2006 World Cup encounter. The game was a roller coaster of emotions. Ghana seized the initiative early when Kevin Prince Boateng, a German-born player who had chosen to represent Ghana, blasted a shot from the edge of the box past the American goalkeeper just 5 minutes into the match. But the Americans, known for their resilience, fought back in the second half. A penalty was awarded to the USA, and Landon Donovan calmly converted it, sending the match into extra time. It was tense and a grueling battle, but Ghana's stars shone brightest when it mattered most. Just 3 minutes into the first period of extra time, the magnificent Asamoah Gyan received a long pass, held off of the American captain Carlos Bocanegra, and unleashed a stunning left-footed shot that nestled into the back of the net. It was a moment of pure genius. The final whistle blew, and Ghana had secured their place in the quarterfinals, a feat achieved by only 2 other African countries in history. The continent erupted in celebration. The quarterfinal match against Uruguay was not just a game. It was a defining moment for African football. The entire continent watched with bated breath, knowing that a win would make Ghana the first African team to reach the World Cup semi-finals. The match at Soccer City was a tight tactical affair. It was only on the stroke of half-time that the deadlock was broken by a moment of brilliance. Ghana's Sule Muntari, with a long-range shot that swerved and dipped through the air, found the back of the net, giving the Black Stars a deserved lead. The stadium filled with thousands of neutral South African fans roared in support. Uruguay, however, had their own talisman. Just 10 minutes into the second half, Diego Forlan scored a stunning free kick that curled over the wall and into the top corner, tying the game at 1-1. The two teams battled through the rest of regulation time and extra time, with the tension building to an almost unbearable level. Then came the final, fateful moment with seconds remaining in the second half of extra time. A free kick was awarded to Ghana. The ball was whipped into the box and a chaotic scramble ensued. A header from Stephen Appiah was blocked, and another header from Dominic Idia was headed toward the net. A certain goal that would have won the game for Ghana and sent them to the semi-finals. But then, the unimaginable happened. Uruguayan forward Luis Suarez, standing on the goal line, leaped and deliberately slapped the ball with his hands, preventing the goal. It was a blatant, cynical act of cheating. The referee, without hesitation, blew his whistle, showed Suarez a straight red card, and pointed to the penalty spot. As Suarez walked off the field, he seemed to have a mix of shame and defiance on his face. He knew his act had saved his team, even at the cost of his red card. The stadium held its breath as Asamoah, the hero of the tournament, stepped up to take the penalty. The hopes of not just Ghana, but an entire continent rested on his shoulders. He took a deep breath, ran up to the ball, and hit a powerful shot, which slammed into the crossbar and went over. The whistle for full time blew, and the match went to penalties. As the penalty shootout began, cameras caught a glimpse of Luis Suarez in the tunnel, celebrating wildly and triumphantly as the ball sailed over the crossbar. It was a moment that encapsulated the controversy and cemented his reputation. The penalty shootout was a devastating anticlimax. Asamoah, showing incredible courage, stepped up and scored Ghana's first penalty. But Uruguay proved to be more composed under the pressure, and after misses from Ghana's John Mensah and Dominique Dia, the flamboyant Sebastian Abreu sealed the 4-2 victory for Uruguay with a cheeky Panenka chip down the middle. Ghana's historic run was over, ending not with a bang, but with a heart-wrenching whimper. Luis Suarez, the villain or the hero depending on your perspective, had sacrificed himself for his team. And in a cruel twist of fate, his gamble had paid off. For a team that had given so much hope to so many, the final agonizing moments of their World Cup journey were a stark and painful reminder of the thin line between destiny and despair.